continuing with the team with EA here. Now, obviously, EA is not doing themselves any favor with their business practices of how they deal with their customers by, the FIFA Ultimate Team strategy, and then, the Madden, NFL Madden, where they just copy and paste the game and then sell it to the next year after year, and sell it as a new game itself. Why should one buy their products if it's just a carbon copy of the previous one? And there has been evidence that shows that, they just released a reproduced game here. Anyway, I don't know if that's related to that, but because they're a high profile company, a lot of companies are, or in this case, hackers are looking for any vulnerabilities to the company, and lo and behold, they were able to find one, and they were able to get a substantial uh, information. I think, how much was it? Gigabytes worth of data were stolen in their database here. Now, it goes to show that how vulnerable systems are. Even big multi-billion companies, if they're not protected, it can be easily hacked. Now, obviously, if you're an individual, there's no lesser value, but for high profile companies, whether EA, Activision, or even I look at companies like Naughty Dog or any publisher game, right? If they were to penetrate your database here and get vital information, they could, hold you hostage and, for ransom, which is what they were planning to do here. Anyway, according to the article here at PCGamer.com, hackers began leaking stolen data after Vice refuses to help them blackmail EA here. Now, obviously, the point of the matter here is, once they hack the system and got information data, they want to sell it for ransom for any company that they've hacked. Well, obviously, EA here is not playing ball because they don't want to be beholden to the company or to the hackers themselves, because if this were to happen in the first place, and it could happen over and over again. But what's interesting here, the hackers wrote that they said a few weeks ago they sent an email for ransom. EA, meaning no pun intended, to EA, but then did not get any response. So they will be posting the source code if they didn't comply with their ransom. And as I mentioned, excuse me, it was reported that it saw a portion of its database, I think 1.3 gigabytes of cache, was released by the hackers that includes references to EA's internal tools and Origin, as well as EA's digital storefront. And obviously, despite the escalation, you can say EA has made it clear that it's not going to play ball with them, and obviously, it's just going to escalate here, whether the government can catch those hackers or the hackers release those vital data, whatever is more important to EA. Obviously, that's the main issue here. Now, is it right hacking companies' information here? Obviously, it's not. You don't want to encourage this practice, and obviously, hackers can be emboldened to be more to go after other companies as well. But the end of the day is, obviously, companies has to be aware that in this digital revolution that we're encountering, the more connectivity that we are, it's easier to communicate. But the problem is, how do you protect yourselves, not just through physical uh, limitation, but in the digital world itself? And it's not just EA who has encountered this difficult dilemma, as mentioned. You also have CD Projekt Red, who encountered the same result, or same scenario earlier this year, where their source code for their game Cyberpunk 2077. But if you notice, both of those companies were not in good terms with the gaming community in terms of how they treated, when they released Cyberpunk 2077 in the first place. But nonetheless, so both of their actions, they deem they will not give in to the demands nor negotiate with those hackers. Now, obviously, who will win at the end? Only time can tell. Hopefully, they can, better improve their security so that things like this don't happen. Imagine if Sony were to get hacked, or even Microsoft were to get hacked, or government facilities were hacked, vital information, social security information of individuals of a particular nation were stolen, right? One can imagine the horror that you will encounter if this were to happen here. Anyway, so hoping for the best for for those companies.